I want to talk about doing what is important versus what's not important. And I speak from experience because I am very detail oriented, so I get in the details, right? That don't always matter. And it could have a hindrance on your business. If you're focusing on the things that are not important, I don't know if you know about the 80-20 rule. Basically, the 20% of the important things you put in your business will yield 80% of the results. So you want to focus on that 20%, which is the most important part of your business, not the things that are not important. And I was reading this book. I'm still reading it. I'm almost finished. And it's called Success is Inevitable, right? And in here, they talk about a lot of the laws of success, hence the title. And one of the laws is the law of focus. And it states, I focus on one thing and one thing only. That's trying to win as many championships as I can. And that came from Kobe Bryant. And this statement says, the law of focus states that intense focus on the most important area of your life right now will yield great results while positively impacting most of the other areas of your life. So that's what I mean about the 20% focusing on. And it also speaks to, if you haven't read The One Thing by Gary Keller, that is also a great book on focusing on one thing, the most important thing at the time. And great book. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, if you're in business, if you're personal, if you're an employee, The One Thing is a great book to read just to understand how to focus. This one is too, because success is not just in business, it's also in life, relationships, etc. But in business, the 20% you want to mainly focus on as the business owner is lead generation, right? So that's like the main thing you want to focus on. And I don't know if you can see my calendar here. This is the only way I am able to focus because I have so many things to do and so many balls to juggle at one time. If I don't put anything on my calendar, it will fall through the cracks. Has that happened to you? Yeah. Because if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. Like, how many of you have missed meetings, missed phone calls, missed doctor's appointments, missed picking up your kids? No. Just kidding. No, but seriously, like, it's basically called time blocking. And if you're a business owner, you want to have as much space on your calendar covered as much. Now, it doesn't have to be as elaborate as mine. As I said, I'm very detail oriented, right? And I have so much in my head that I don't want to miss anything. So I put pretty much everything on my schedule, on my calendar. And I like the color codes because it gives me a visual of what category. I have volunteering, I have business, I have rest time, I have gym time, exercise time, I have sleep time on there because sometimes I forget to sleep. Or I even have food time on there, lunch, breakfast, etc. Right? And you want to make sure that your schedule has as much things filled in as possible so that you don't forget those major things. The main thing you need to do for your business is lead generation. So make sure lead generation is on your calendar. I don't know if you know about the big rocks, little rocks analogy, where basically there's a glass jar, and if you put in the small rocks first and then the medium-sized rocks and then the big rocks, there's not going to be, and you pour the water in, there's not going to be a lot of room, right, for the big rocks. If you put in the big rocks first, then the medium rocks, then the small rocks, then the water, everything will fit perfectly. So you need to do that with your calendar, your schedule, like for the year. If you're a business owner and you know you have anniversaries, vacations, birthdays of your family, then you want to make sure those are on your calendar, because you don't want to forget those. That would not be good for you. So put those things on your calendar. Vacations, those are the big rocks. If you have date nights with your spouse, whatever the case may be, that's a big rock. Put that on your calendar, right? And then the medium rocks would probably be like trainings, business meetings, graduations, those type of things. Put those on your calendar, so that you know that you have those things scheduled at least a year out. And some of those things may be optional and they may not be, but they're not so much a big rock because they're not as important. They're still important to you, but they're not as important. So, but you still want to put them on your calendar. And then the little rocks are the little other things, like getting your car washed, or going to the dentist. They need to be done, but they're not the most important thing, right? But you want to put them on your calendar. There's other things that you don't probably want to put on your calendar that's less important, right? So the 20% you want to focus on are the big rocks. And in your business, that's lead generation. It's also lead follow-up. It's also sales calls, right? So you want to make sure you have a decent calendar. I don't care if it's Google. I don't care if it's iCalendar. I don't care. I don't care. I do care if it's on paper. Like if it's on paper, that's not going to help you in the long run. Because what if you have to rush out to a meeting and you left your calendar at home? Or you have to rush home and you left your calendar at the office? Like, I want everybody to be able to convert their paper calendars to an electronic calendar of some sort, because it's going to be better for you, more productive for you to be able to track your calendar on any given time, any given moment, any given day. And I remember when I first had my calendar, I loved the paper calendar. I loved it. It was all organized. It was cute. But I was double entering. The information on my paper calendar, and then I was putting it on my electronic calendar. And then if I didn't put it on my electronic calendar and I forgot my paper calendar, I had no idea what was going on, right? So it's best to have a calendar, and I don't have hardly any empty space, right? And that's good. That's how I'm able to focus on one thing at a time. When I have that time blocked for that particular task, that is what I'm focusing on. And that is all I'm focusing on at that time. That will help you be more productive. You'll make sure you get that main thing done, and it'll make you feel better too. You'll feel accomplished because you stuck to your schedule, you put it on your schedule, and you're using it, and you're not forgetting things. You're not letting anything fall through the cracks. And that's how you become a well-oiled machine with running your business and your life. Just having a calendar, scheduling, putting all those big rocks on. The big rocks first, then the medium rocks, then the small rocks. And fill in as much space as you can so that you can have a visual of where you have free time, where you don't have free time, and you have to protect that 20% time block with your life. Because if you don't, so many times I was not doing the 20% lead generation. So then when my leads started to slow up, the money started to slow up, right? We don't want that. We don't want that. So the lead generation has to happen. You have to run your business as a business, and you have to make sure you have multiple people in the pipeline. People that'll be ready soon, people that'll be ready in 3 months, people that'll be ready in 6 months, people that'll be ready in a year, right? Keep that pipeline going and keep that lead generation going in order to maintain and sustain and grow your business. Otherwise, your business is not going to grow. Now, you can't really grow your business if you're not keeping track of all the other areas of your business as well. So you have to also keep that on your calendar. The bookkeeping, right? Managing your finances, the customer follow-up, right? Managing, if you have any employees, managing them on there, delegating, training, right? Reviewing your business, making sure things are working, what's not working, checking your emails, right? A lot of those things are falling through the cracks and your business is not growing because you're only focused on the lead gen and the sales, and you're not focused on the back end of the operations at all. And your business can't run as a whole without all of the functions running together. So yes, the lead gen is a 20%, but you still need to work on the other 80% of your business, that back end, to make sure it's flowing, to make sure it's functioning, and to make sure it's efficient and you're being productive in order to scale and grow your business and sustain it. If you want it to last for a while, probably forever, or at least as long as you're alive, then you need to make sure all those things are in place. But all of those things will fall through the cracks if you don't put them on your calendar, including bookkeeping time, talking to the bookkeeper, the CPA, whoever you need to talk to make sure your financials are in order. But now they have things are automated. Like if you use QuickBooks, you can automate that, right? So you don't even have to do a lot of that. Or if you have a CRM system, a lot of that stuff can be automated as well. So that can take time off of your calendar so that you can focus more on the lead gen and the sales and the follow-up, right? That's what you're good at for the most part. That's why you're in business. So everything relies on the calendar. And you don't even want to be managing this calendar, really. Once you set it up, it's set up for the most part. Of course, you'll have to adjust here and there when you have meetings or sales calls or things like that. But that's part of the 80%. Managing your calendar on a daily basis. Like, that's not what you should be focused on. You need to either automate that process as well or have an assistant or someone helping you manage your calendar. But you shouldn't be focused on that, right? Focus on the one thing at the one time in order to grow your business. And yes, it is lead generation and sales, but if your business doesn't flow on the back end, it's not going to grow. And that's why a lot of business owners actually fail. They're making money, but they're not tracking their money. They're not tracking their customers. So their money doesn't last as long as they thought it was, and their business is just staying stagnant. So I just want to remind you, keep a calendar, preferably electronic, and because if it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. It's not real. Put everything down on your calendar. That's important to you, and that's important to your business in order to maintain structure, organization, and also credibility. Like if you miss an appointment or a call with a client, that affects your reputation, and you're going to lose credibility and trust with that person right away. So your calendar is a lot more saving grace than you really think it is. So just make sure you're using that and stay productive, and your success will be inevitable. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.